Hi guys, I'm Dr. Anne, and today I'll be telling you 5 facts about being a doctor or doctoring in South Africa. Um, yeah, let's get to it. Number one, the 6 years goes by so quickly. I remember when I found out the degree is actually 6 years because initially, back in the day, it used to be 7 years to actually study, to be a doctor. So when I found out that it was 6 years, I was just daunted by the process. I literally was calculating how long it was gonna take me to get to the end and how far I would be in life if I take a different route. And I was just thinking that actually by the time I'm done studying, I'd be 24, and so much of life would have happened and things like that. And it does happen because you find that your counterparts or friends that do things like accounting and engineering and other things, they finish at the age of 21, 22, and they start working. So you find that their lives tend to progress a bit faster than while you basically, it feels like you're studying for a long time, but I promise you it is worth it. There's job security that comes with it. So it is worth it. Some people, even though they do 3 year degrees or courses or whatnot, they end up wasting time having to look for a job. Whereas most people who are in the healthcare sector won't struggle to get a job. So the nice thing about it, yes, life will go by. Some of your peers will have gotten married and you'll still be studying. But I promise you, it goes by very quickly and it's not a race. You don't have to catch up to nothing. So trust the process, it's worth it. Number two, the salary, right? I want to spill the beans on how much we actually get paid. So let me first just break it down on how it actually works. So you do the full 6 years medical school, and once you graduate, then you become an intern. So as an intern, you're still like an understudy type of doctor. You're not responsible for nothing. It's like you're a student type, doctor, but you are a doctor because you get the title. But you still have to work under supervision. And the nice thing about it is that you do get paid. And the salary, I don't want to talk about, I don't want to spill the beans, but it's enough for one to have a car and pay rent and still be comfortable. Whereas a lot of other careers that, is startups, you go 5,000, 10,000, it's hard to do that, especially when placed in the cities. So the nice thing about being a doctor and doing internship is that you are able to afford such luxuries. And if you really, really are fancy, you find doctors that will push it and, get the Mercedes. And those are people who are just comfortable with, paying a lot of money on cars and stuff. I know an intern who had a Mustang, not a Mazda, a Mustang. And I was just like, damn, y'all, what am I doing with my life? So basically, you do find interns who will push themselves to that limit. Because the thing is that the banks also are very, how do I put it? Like they like putting people in debt and they like putting doctors in debt by offering us so much more than what we can necessarily afford based on the fact that there's job security that's linked with the career. So they know that you'll always be working, and as long as you're working, then you can pay off debt, honey. And then there's community service, and during ComServe, you are a more experienced type doctor and can do more things. And then after then, but you're still basically linked to the system. You still have to submit things to the HPCSA or the board of doctors to show that you're doing certain things or you're still working and whatnot. Thereafter, then you are a qualified medical professional. You can do whatever. You can go into private, you can do whatever, you can open a GP practice, you can literally, the world is your oyster. So that's the nice thing about it. So the nice thing about the career as a whole is financial liberty, financial liberation, security, job security. And the nice thing is that most people, you can make as much money as you want. That's the nice thing about this career. Unlike other careers, the ones I mentioned that where you start out low and grow. With us, you start out not high, but you start out average. So the salary sort of plateaus. Hence why some doctors will go into private and open practices. You work like a dog. So you can make as much money as you want as long as you work yourself to the bone. So I don't know. It's your choice, I guess. With other careers, you don't have to put in so much effort. So number three, nice thing or facts is that we don't go to interviews. Like, I'm embarrassed thinking about it that I've never been to I've never been or had an interview in my whole entire life. Like I don't even know how to write a CV. Like the last time I learned how to do a CV was in matric or like high school where they teach you how to do the name, surname, diploma. And apparently CVs aren't done like that anyways, according to my sister. But yeah, so you might end up like having to not go to an interview your whole entire life. So especially if you do cross transfers. So initially when you get your job internship, it's placement. So they'll give you a list of hospitals you pick. And after picking, you get placed. They tell you where to go. And that happens during internship, that happens during ComServe as well. And then it can also happen post ComServe that they give you a list, especially if you're a bursary holder. With us, they gave us a list of like places to go and you had to like pick your own place. So we never had to go. I never had to go to an interview. So if I end up having to, let's say I want to go to another hospital, instead of like doing the whole interview shenanigans, I can literally cross transfer and I might not even, need to do the interview, especially if you end up going into private. The fourth fact about doctors that people don't know or might know or not have an idea of is the long hours. So basically we have an 8 to 4 every day. And then on top of the 8 to 4, we have to do 80 hours, which is basically mandatory. Like, hence why a lot of our salary comes from overtime. Like a third of your salary is overtime, 2/3 are your basic salary. Hence why you'd find that we earn the same amount of money as people like the people that I mentioned before, like engineers, whatever, people who start out low. The only difference is that most of our money is made from overtime. So that sort of gives us the edge, hence why the salary will slightly be higher than counterparts. It's because of overtime. And in rural areas where there's not a lot of doctors, like where I currently work, you can end up doing way more hours than the 80-hour overtime and get paid for it. So that's called the extra overtime. So you just do like 160, 200 hours and get way, way, way more money for it. And the nice thing about it is that because it's like in small rural settings, it's not a lot of workload. So you can get away with doing so many hours without like burning out. But literally, guys, the hours sometimes they are not worth it. The money, like any job that wakes you up in the middle of the night, a part of me feels that it's not worth it. Like, I personally don't see myself waking up at 2 a.m. or walking up and down at 2 a.m. at the age of 50. Like, Lord, like, hey, it's hard. Like, it's not fun at all. Like, even when you enjoy the money, like, you're exhausted. So really, so the long hours are that, but they're not bad. They're not bad if you actually just stick to the 80. You find that it's just 4 calls. So it's not that bad unless you like things, then yeah. Or you also doing extra hours in private and nan. So then if you're doing all of that, then girl, like, you gonna work, like, you're gonna be exhausted and you're gonna be tired, but you're probably gonna have money in the bank. Number five is that it's actually a business. It's one of those careers that are nice in that you can make as much money out of it as you want, as long as you're willing to put in the work. So some people will work both in private and public and, put in the hours so that they're able to live their lives that they think they deserve. That you make as much money as you want because basically your career becomes your business. Some people branch out into and help out in private, or will have a private and also be working in public. So it's a business in that sense. Not all doctors have to work or see patients. There's non-clinical side of medicine, and that's also working in corporate, for pharmaceutical companies, medical, whatever companies. You can be an assessor. There's just so much more that can be done outside of seeing patients, because I know some people are not really for the fact like working in hospital, like grinding like that. So that's also another thing that people end up doing, is branching out into the non-clinical side or laboratory type side, where they don't have patient like type interaction. The only disadvantage to that is that you're sort of limited, whereas when you are sort of a free bird working in clinical, there's so much opportunities and chances for one to make money elsewhere. So yeah, I hope you found these facts interesting. If you have any questions, write them down below and I'll be sure to answer them and reply to literally all of them. Yeah, so if you enjoyed the video, just make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will be dropping more videos soon. So thanks for watching. Bye.